Under the hood.
Okay, well, welcome back to HMTV. I'm Tim Bowen here at Hildebrand Motors. This is Richard Fair.
Hi.
And today we're going to be talking about air conditioning. And we have some frequently asked questions that we found on the internet that we thought we'd share. And Richard, we'd give you the answers because I knew nothing. So one of the questions, the first question we have is environmentally friendly air conditioning gas. What is that?
In the automotive industry, quite a while ago now, they were very concerned about the refrigerant that was being used in the systems, and it was called R12. And they are now using a refrigerant that's basically, the number is 134A, and it is more friendly to the ozone. I think that they've done numerous studies on it and found that it's a lot better than what the old stuff used to be, and we all have fears of the ozone layer and you know
Right.
what the effects of that are.
So it's much better.
Absolutely, and it's just as efficient. The systems work just as well with this new gas. So.
All right. So we're going to go into number 2 here. Is there a difference in fuel mileage with air conditioning versus your window rolled down? It's a big argument. You hear it all the time. Some people say, oh, it's better with your windows rolled down. Some people say it's better if you have the air conditioning and don't do it. What is your recommendation, or is there one?
I don't think really there's a recommendation, but from my own point of view, I think if you're going to use the air conditioning regardless, then it's more efficient with it rolled down, because the demand on your system isn't quite as great if you can kind of contain the cool air in the car. If you've got windows open, it may give you that rush of air, but in the long term, I don't think that it helps, because your air conditioning system is actually working harder to displace the air that's coming into the vehicle. If you're going to roll the windows down, then turn your air conditioning compressor off, and that's kind of the gist of the whole thing. But I think it's a personal preference. Fuel economy wise, it's probably more efficient to have just the air conditioning compressor on and the windows closed.
Right, and especially if you're going on a long trip, right? Because if you do have the windows closed, it is going to cause more drag.
Right.
Too, right?
Right. That's right. Yeah. If you have an automatic system, which we are going to touch on here, the compressor is kind of regulated as to how much it has to work in order to keep that temperature at a certain temperature. So.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. So next question: should you get your air conditioning service regularly?
Basically, if you want, you can come in and we can verify that it's meeting its peak efficiency, but there are no really major service intervals for air conditioning unless you're having a problem. The air conditioning system is one of those that really isn't a major issue that you have to deal with. Most people notice in the summertime if their air conditioner's not working, so
yeah.
Compressors, if there's a problem with it, you'll usually hear that. About the only service interval is on the belt that runs the compressor.
Right. So you really don't have to worry about it. You don't have to bring it in quite often to get a service or anything. Just relax about that, and if something is an issue, you'll know and then bring it in.
Yeah. Air conditioning is a closed system, so it's not like a cooling system where it needs regular service.
Right. Here's a good question. But why is that my refrigerator never needs servicing?
Well, I guess my response to that is you don't drive your refrigerator, it stays in one place.
Yeah.
So the demand isn't quite as great. A refrigerator basically doesn't go through the major temperature changes that your vehicle does. So, it just tries to maintain temperature in your fridge.
Right, and plus you're not driving over mud and all that kind of crud and stuff with your refrigerator. At least I hope you're not. So
that kind of leads me to an old joke about your refrigerator running, but we won't touch on that. your refrigerator quits, you know it. I mean, that's and that's very seldom. So
for sure,
car demands are more.
You can't really compare the two anyway. So let's go to the next one. What is the difference between air conditioning and climate control? Which is, I think, a fair question.
Yeah, it's kind of a misconception as to whether you have climate control or not. Climate control is part of your air conditioning system in certain vehicles. Some of the ones where you have manual controls to control temperature and fan and that's basically your air conditioning control. The climate control is usually an automatic system where you just set a temperature, the car kind of does its own thing. It says, I need to cool it down, I'm just going to increase the fan speed. If it may alter your temperature a little bit sometimes. You may not expect that, and all of a sudden you notice that you're not on the vents anymore, you're on a different mode, and it may change back and forth. So some people aren't aware of that and think there might be something wrong with the system, but the climate control actually has been out for a long, long time, and there's just so many variations even in the GM line on that.
So I'd say the difference probably would be in air conditioning is one that you're controlling, and the fan and where it goes and the temperature and everything, and climate control would have like an automatic mode kind of thing where it would take care of all that for you.
Yeah, in most vehicles you can still control it, but you have that auto button or something that indicates an auto system.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so brings us to our last question: retrofitting. What is it?
Retrofitting is basically changing an old system that used to use generally R12, the old refrigerant, and fitting the fittings that you use to charge the system with the new modern fittings for the 134A. They have different charge ports, and basically, for the most part, retrofitting can get expensive depending on your vehicle. And if your system's not working and you want to do that, I mean, you're welcome to come in. We have all the pieces to do that type of thing. I'm not even sure exactly where the cutoff was for the new system.
Right.
But that's basically what it consists of, taking all the old stuff out of the system, and we actually have to dispose of it because it's R12.
Right.
And then putting the new 134A in the system.
So would that be something that you would do, say, if you have an old car that you're redoing and?
Yep. Yeah. If you want the AC to work properly, if you're doing a refurbish on a car, you're probably going to have the AC system off and or apart. And by the way, you're not really supposed to let the R12 escape into the atmosphere. That's a no-no. But sometimes it happens on its own, just because the system's old. But, when you're doing a repair on one of those systems, then the retrofit is definitely would be suggested because you can't get R12 anyhow. So.
Right, and that when we do that here.
Yes. Yeah.
So do we just do it on GM vehicles, or would we do it on any vehicle?
Retrofit. You basically have a catalog. You find out which fittings you need. You can do it on almost any vehicle. Yeah. I wouldn't say we can do it on every vehicle, but
right. And it is recommended to bring it into a shop that will dispose of it properly and take care of everything properly for you.
Absolutely, and the R12, when you do that, it actually is tracked. If you're doing a retrofit. So.
Right. Great. So that's it for this segment. If you have any questions or comments or anything, you could always email Richard at richardf@hildebrandmotors.com and myself, Tim B. at hildebrandmotors.com. And glad you can be a part of the show today, and we will see you next time. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.